It's Friday, December 10th, 2021. This morning, I was about to leave on my morning walk, and lo and behold, I ran into someone that calls themselves a Colombian. Again, beseeched, it's hearsay. I don't know what farce has to say about. She mentioned a couple of different looks that she's been called in the past. I had no input because, again, I don't have an agreed upon catalog of whatever. I was looking at Bean Counter catalog, and which is a local publication, I suppose. I don't know where. I mean, again, it's U.S. postage paid for this incorporation, but I don't know how far it goes or what it covers as far as bean counters. It does have my parents' initials, so on that stretch of symbology, I was looking through it to find the proper names for the patterns that she wore this morning. I found one which was on her bottom half. She was wearing something called a hunter pattern, which I had never heard of before, although hers was more black, white, and gray. It didn't have a greenish hue to it. The one that I found said it had a heather to it. So, whatever on that. And I couldn't find what she wore around her neck. That pattern was not a known source pattern that I could identify. What I will say is, she mentioned this word I've heard very rarely called Anglo-Saxon. And I asked her, I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, it's a form of white people. And I'm like, right, okay, so what form? And she's like, I was like, my parents would be considered then, yeah? And she was like, well, no, because your dad's Italian. Like, that's interesting. I was like, no, actually, he's Northern Italian. I was like, and she's like, and your grandfather? And I was like, I don't really know. I said his records on the wall mentioned something about Albania and Greece, but I really don't know for sure. I was like, but I do know Dad is definitely Northern Italian, like Austria. I was like, and she's like, and Mom? I was like, well, Mom was born here, and her mom was somewhere in Belfast, Ireland. Not much more to it. I was like, you did hear that there's something called an ozone, a hole in the ozone. I was like, I didn't find out that, she's like, well, I took a test for whatever, 23andMe, I think she said. I was like, right, yeah, I took a different whatever. But it also stated that I'm not from around here, according to whatever it is that they're doing at Holes in Ozone. I was like, I had a separate issue. I was like, I was not supposed to stay here. I was like, something has harmed my destiny and where I originally was headed. I was like, and when I went to the doctor with my first kid, they actually had to order specialized medicine because the person who, whatever, he was an O positive. I was like, and his blood could harm me. So I said they had to order some kind of special medicine first time. I mean, I had never heard of it before. And so then she looked up on the phone and it said something about Germanic descent, something Old English. And I'm like, right, yeah, so we would qualify then. Because I know that there's an American ozone and then there's a Pacific ozone. And right somewhere between Iber to Siberia, there's a whole nother section of where I should belong, or where I do belong, according to the blood test. I was like, but here I am, just waiting. So, I mean, again, the feature of the nose, sometimes it looks correct, some days it looks like I've been beat up by the atmosphere and it's swollen. This is time dilation and what it did to an actual person. It's horrible. It was a known outcome, and it was unacceptable that this is what happened. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to correct it. I don't know what stands in the way. And I don't know why it was allowed to go on so long. I'm looking at the actors and the publication of the models, MODELS, in this catalog. They don't even look familiar. They're not only are they not family oriented to what I am, or even in Ozarks like crossover. What's in this catalog is some kind of, I don't know, agreement between I don't know whom, which makes it very difficult because at bean counters, it means the linguistics and patterns are more dangerous now. And it has cataloged some identifying whatever. But I see in there is still a Nordic look, but it's like towards the middle to end section of the catalog. The first few whatever is all something completely different. I have no idea what they call themselves. I just don't. It does match some of what's around here. Some do, some don't. I was also walking, my first walk of the day. I was walking and I heard in front of the restaurant that I don't know the character reference of the calligraphy because it's not a block letter that in alpha, beta, or alphabet that I'm able to recognize. It's some subscript. There was two men standing in front of this brick building. It's where the Doberman pincher and handler were that I mentioned yesterday, where the Doberman's ears were not standing erect. They were pushed towards the side, and he was whimpering, and he was shivering, and he was just really uncomfortable. There were two men, and one of them made some reference to CIA on the telephone as I walked past. Again, not something that I normally hear them speak about on the streets of Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. So again, I don't know if these are staged events. I don't know who's sponsoring these events. I don't know who's sending these characters and cast members into the area for me to mention in this dimension. It is a really confusing set of circumstances. And at this point, I have quantum state and mirror state, which is where I'm at, looking to only communicate with Eric Thomas Jefferson that took me to Port Jefferson. But again, I don't know on this magical, however the technology works, if he's the only one that's viewing it, or if it's getting sent to other place. I mean, there's no way to know. But then again, they also have patterned language going out to the public, and they're modeling all the wrong genealogy and ancestry in one book. So, and this is at a time where New York City removed a statue of Thomas Jefferson from the municipal building, which is dangerous. And I also found this morning, or actually last night, into this morning, I dug a little deeper about the one face of George Washington with the one backing of George Washington. Somehow there's in circulation, someone is allowing some form of the backing of this Washington faced quarter. They're allowing it to change the symbolic picture from the one unit approved into some artisan, I don't know what, because I cannot decipher the pattern or what it pertains to. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. Its Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.